Hello and welcome to Intech Centre's Functional Skills tutorial. My name is Jada and I will be guiding you through the Functional Skills Mathematics sample paper for Level 2. To begin with, please note that this video is made for educational purposes only for Intech Centre's customers and learners. In no way is this affiliated with City and Guilds, and we cannot guarantee that the answers given are 100% correct. Please also note that there are different ways in which you can answer the steps and questions in the exam, and that this is only a guide. If you have any queries, complaints or feedback about the content of this video, please email us at info@intechcentre.com. In order to access the functional skills sample papers, you can do this by visiting Intech Centre's website at www.intechcentre.com. In order to access the sample papers, please go onto the Exams tab. There you will see Functional Skills English Level 2 exam and Functional Skills Maths Level 2 exam. Please click on this link. There you will find information and guidance on preparing for your Functional Skills Maths Level 2 exam. Please scroll down to the exam preparation step. There's also the online navigation tutorial that we advise you to do a couple of times to understand the functionality of different items in the actual exam. Please see the relevant video on online navigation tutorial. Today we'll be going through sample test 2. If you click on the sample test link, this will direct you to the City and Guilds website. Here you can see the qualifications page for the functional skills. This is 3748. If you scroll down and click onto the relevant, expand the relevant tab that you'll be doing for your exam. So in this case it will be level 2. So I've just expanded the page here. If I scroll down, I can access the on-screen navigation tutorial here, and also the 3 sample papers that are available. These are the up-to-date sample papers that are available in City and Guilds. They are for anyone to use. So today we'll be going through the sample paper 2. So if I click this link, this will direct me to the sample paper 2 link and website. Okay, so as you can see here, it's coming up with the City and Guilds Secure Access page. It's asking for the key code. Please note that on your actual exam, this will be your own personal key code and PIN. As this is a demo, we're just going to click the OK and confirm options. So on your actual test, this will be your details and your exam name, your date of birth, gender, first name and last name, and also your enrollment number. So we're just going to confirm this. It's just loading. Okay, so as you can see here, this is coming up with the Functional Skills Mathematics Sample Level 2 assessment. The length of the assessment is 2 hours. These are the general instructions that you should read carefully. You may use a calculator, you may use a dictionary. There are 3 tasks to complete. You should spend an equal amount of time on each task. So for the purposes for the level 2, you have 2 hours. That means spending an equal time on each task, which is around 40 minutes. Read through each task carefully. The maximum marks available are shown at the start of each task. Show you're working out, you may get marks for it. Check your calculations. Make sure your answers are written in the correct spaces. This is really important. You should use a pen, pencil and paper to make notes. You should be provided this when you enter the exam room. To use the on-screen calculator, click the symbol at the top of the question. So this symbol indicates the calculator and you can use this in your exam. There's also the preferences and tutorial. So if we click on preferences, we can change the display settings, like so. And then we're just going to restore the defaults here. There's also the tutorial that you should go through before the exam, before you enter the exam. So we're just going to click Start Exam to begin. I'm going to go through the test from beginning and try to explain what I'm doing as I go through it. So when you start exam, section 1 will begin. As you can see, the time remaining here, this is just a demo, so this will be your actual 2 hours in your exam. Your progress here shows your progress bar, and so we're just going to go through the questions now. So this is section 1, gym training. There are 25 marks for this task. You should check all your work as you go along. Introduction. A sports team is planning its annual budget. This task is about choosing a suitable gym and deciding on a subscription fee. To complete this task, you will need to work out how much money the team have to spend on gym training, compare the costs of 2 gyms, work out the subscription fee each team member will need to pay, present your results, recommend a gym to use. You will need to check your calculations and review your work. So we are going to click next. You can also click the tab buttons to move from question to question, as this is task 1, task 2, task 3. These are the section buttons and these are the question buttons. So we're just going to click next. So question 1 is worth 5 marks. Last year, the sponsorship money covered gym training costs for the sports team. The chart shows how the sponsorship money was spent last year. So as you can see here, the total sponsorship money last year was $10,480. We are interested in the gym training costs. It's very, very key that you read the question carefully and only provide the answers that they're asking for. So it says, sponsorship money covered gym training costs for the sports team. So you can see this is a total sponsorship last year. This is a pie chart, so it's got the percentages of the sponsorship money that was split between the various items. So you've got stadium training, travel costs, physiotherapy, administration, gym training, competition charges and other expenses. So we are only interested in the white section, which is the gym training, so that's 26%. So we need to work out what 26% of 10,480 is, because this will give you the percentage that the gym training was. It also says this year sponsorship money will be 15% less. Work out how much money there will be for gym training this year. So this is the actual question. This is the information that you need, but this is the actual question. So this year sponsorship money will be 15% less. Work out how much money there will be for gym training this year. So the first thing that we need to do is work out the gym training sponsorship money. So last year was 10,480 and only 26% went on gym training. So what we will need to do, we'll need to work out what 26% of gym training. So as you can see here, I'm using the number tab located on the right hand side of the keyboard. So there's various functions. It says it's a number pad, so you've got the numbers there. So you've got 1 to 0, you've got decimal point there, you've got enter there, so you can move on from the next step. And you've also got plus, minus. You can use these, and you can also use the / and asterisk sign as divide and multiplication. You can also use the function buttons here. So you have times, plus, divide, subtraction, equals. So you can do this in various ways. So I'm going to do 10,480. So I'm going to times this by 26%. So if I do this on the calculator here, you can also move this on-screen calculator out the way if you wish. So you can actually scroll down the page so it doesn't interfere with your actual working out. And so let's do 10,480 times 26%. This gives us £2,724.80. Remember that you're working with money. Okay, so that's the first step done. So that's the gym training cost for the sponsorship last year. This year, the sponsorship money will be 15% less. Work out how much money there will be for gym training this year. So now what we need to do is use this value and work out 15% of this value. So that's 2724.80. We can use the function buttons here. So I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. So that's times 15%. So it's already on my calculator. So I'm just going to times, let's take that away, 2724 times 15%. This gives us 408.72. And now I'm going to take it away from the original. So I'm going to take the this value away from this value. So that's 2724.8 minus 408.72. So it's 27248 minus 408.72. This gives us a final answer of 231608. So we would put this answer here. Please make sure you check all your calculations in case you make a calculation error, and also show your working out, as you can get marks for it if your final answer is incorrect. There's also various other ways of doing this task. You could work out 85% of this. This will give us the same value as 408. So this would give us actually this value. So that's 2724.8 times 85%. So this gives us the total value. So this skips out this step. As long as you get to the right answer, there's many different methods to get in here, but as long as you use one of them, that's all fine. The end answer is correct. So that's the first task done. So we're going to click next. So now we're moving on to question 2. It's also worth 5 marks. The team members need to train every week and want to keep the same number of gym sessions they did last year. The table shows how many gym sessions the team members did last year. So this is the table, so it's the average number of gym sessions each month. You've got the team member's name, the pool, weights, fitness, training and sauna. So you have information on 2 local gyms. So make sure you scroll down to receive all the information that you need to answer the questions. You have information on 2 local gyms. So we have Booley's Gym here and we have Jim's Gym here. So Booley's Gym is a weekly pass ticket, and it covers all areas of the sports centre for a maximum of 12 sessions per week. You've got Jim's Gym here, so that's monthly membership, all inclusive, £29.99 per person. It includes unlimited use of swimming pool, weights room, fitness room. The sauna's not included, it's £2.50 per session. Work out the monthly gym costs for the team, gym training costs for the team. Okay, so we have Booley's Gym and Jim's Gym. So we will firstly work out Booley's Gym. So Booley's Gym, it's a weekly pass ticket that covers all areas of the sports centre for a maximum of 12 sessions per week. So this is a maximum, and you see here the team members need to train every week and want to keep the same number of gym sessions. So we need to make sure that there are 12 sessions per week, so this is per month. So make sure you're very careful about the criteria of each of the tables, of each of the tasks. So this is per week. So this is 12 sessions per week, and this is per month. So as you can see here, Alex, he did 3 pool sessions, 14 weight sessions, fitness training 20 sessions, and sauna sessions 8. So if you actually add all of them up, 3 plus 14 plus 20 plus 8, because it's only giving you the monthly costs. So it's 45 sessions that Alex did in a month. So remember, the Booley's Gym is £12.50 it's a weekly pass which covers 12 sessions. So as this is a weekly pass and this is a monthly itinerary, so we're going to divide this by 4 just to see the average number. So it's 11.25, it's under 12. So you could possibly do 11 or 12 sessions per week. So we've got Sam as well, so that's 16 plus 20 plus 12. It's 48. We divide it by 4 again. That's 12. That's fine. We just want to make sure that they don't go over. So here we've got 42 for Chris. Divide it by 4. It's 10.5, so that's under 12. That's fine. 12, and then we've got for Pat 12 plus 16 plus 8. So we have 48, and then divide it by 4, which give us 12. So Booley's Gym, they could possibly go to Booley's Gym, as they're doing 12 or under sessions per week. So the monthly gym training cost of the team. So £12.50 is the weekly pass ticket price per person. So here I would write Booley's Gym. Okay, so it's £12.50 per person per week. So if we do £12.50, so let's do it per person, so there's 4 people, times 4, so £12.50 times 4 is 50, so that's £50 per person. But then we also need it, that's per person per week. What I'm writing here is not necessary, the calculations are. So I'm just for our customers and learners, just to explain what I'm doing. So this is per person per week. And then we need to work it out for a month, so we're assuming that there's 4 weeks in a month. So then that's 50 times 4, which gives us 200. So Bruley's Gym is 200. Okay, so that's Bruley's Gym done. If we move this calculator up the screen so we can see Jim's Gym, so we've got Jim's Gym, and you can use the scroll bar here so your answers don't get deleted, so the answers still are there. So just to show you what I'm doing, so Jim's Gym is monthly membership. It's an all-inclusive deal. It's £29.99 per person. This includes unlimited use of swimming pool, weights room, fitness room. So we can see here that they do use a sauna, but the sauna is not included in the gym monthly membership. It's £2.50 per session. So we could work out the first bit, so that's £29.99. There's 4 people and it's per month, so that will give us the monthly membership for the 4 people. As it's per month, we don't need to do any other calculations. That's £119.96. We need to include the sauna. So the sauna is not included, is £2.50 per session. So what I could do is add the values of the sauna, because this is per month. So we have 8 sessions plus 12 sessions plus 9 sessions plus 8. So this gives us 8 plus 12 plus 9 plus 8, which gives us 37. So this is the monthly sauna sessions that the team members used. We would then multiply this by £2.50. So that's 37 times £2.50, which gives us £92.50. And then we will just add the membership costs, which is £119.96 plus £92.50. So we've got £92.50 there, so I'm just going to go plus £119.96. Always make sure to double check your calculations in case you've made a calculation error. So that gives us £212.46. So this is the cost, the monthly gym training costs for Bruley's Gym and Jim's Gym. So this was the sauna prices inclusive, and the Jim's Gym, this was the monthly membership without sauna. Okay, so that's. It says make a note of your answer, you'll need this for question 3. If we go back to the previous question, it also says make a note of your answer, you'll need this for question 3. So you should make a note, ideally on paper, sponsorship money for gym training, and then Bruley's Gym and Jim's Gym. This saves you time in going back and forth, just like I did. So if I had written the amounts, the values, it'll save me time from going back and forth and looking for the information. Please make sure you do put your answers in the relevant boxes. So Bruley's Gym, even though I have it here, you should make a note of the answers in the relevant boxes. So click next to move on to question 3. Okay, so this is question 3A. It's 5 marks. The team members agreed to pay the same monthly subscription fee to the sports team to help cover gym costs. Use your answers to question 1 and question 2 to work out for each gym the difference between the sponsorship money for gym training this year and the gym training costs for this year, the subscription fee each member will need to pay per month. So let's complete this table and show you working. Okay, so the first thing that I will do is make a note of my answers on here from the previous two questions. So the sponsorship money for gym training is 231608. Again, you don't need to. This is just a guide to help the learners, to help you guys figure out what I'm doing and explain what I'm doing. So this is sponsorship money for gym training. This is what we got in question 1. And then Booley's gym costs. Booley's gym, this was the monthly cost. Remember this. So Jim's gym. I need to capitalise. You don't get marks for spelling. You don't get marked down for spelling. So here, so I've got 212.46. Remember, it's monthly. So you've got the table here that you need to fill out. So you need to work out the difference and you need to work out the subscription. So let's read the question again. The difference between, we need to work out for each gym, the difference between the sponsorship money for gym training this year and the gym training costs for this year. The subscription fee each member will need to pay per month. So the team members will pay the difference, small monthly subscription fee, because of the reduction in the 15% of sponsorship money. So if we work out Booley's gym first, so we're working out the difference. So remember that it's about, the difference is this year and the gym training costs for this year. So we've got the monthly cost. So the first thing that we should do is work out the yearly cost. So the monthly cost is 200. We're going to times this by 12. As there 12 months in the year, this will give us 2,400 if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just going to move the calculator out of the way. So that's 200 times 12, 2,400. So obviously there's 12 months in a year, but there's also 52 weeks in a year. So you could multiply the monthly cost by 52, or the weekly cost. You could work out the weekly cost and then work it out for 52 weeks. So there's different ways to do this, but we're just going to go by the yearly cost, as it's a little bit easier because we already have the monthly cost. We don't need to work out the weekly cost. So we have Booley's gym. The difference is the annual amount for the gym is 2,400. So we're going to take this away from our original sponsorship money. So that was 231608. So 231608. So 2,400 take away 231608. This gives us 83.92. So we've worked out the difference now. So 83.92. As you can see, I'm doing it systematically, putting the answers as I go along into the table. So we would just work out the subscription cost, as it's just a bit easier just to work it out here. So the difference is 83.92. So remember, this is the yearly cost. So 83.92, what we need to work out is how much each member needs to pay, because it's per month that they need to pay. So for each month, the subscription fee each member will need to pay. So it's not per year. So if it was per year or per month, per year, then it will be 83.92 divided by 4, because there's 4 members. But we need to work out the monthly subscription cost. So difference, I'm just going to write subscription. So 83.92 is per year. We're going to divide this by 12. So if I put the divide button, this will give us the monthly cost, which is 83.92 divide by 12. As I said, you could do this per year. You could do this weekly and divide it by 52. So there are different methods to doing this. So this gives us 6.9933 recurring. So then we also have this amount, and we need to divide it by 4 members. So this is monthly difference cost, subscription cost, all 4 members. Remember, each member, this is the key thing, is each member we need to pay. So we just need to divide this by 4 now. So I would keep this on the calculator, this value, and then divide it by 4. So again, the divide, this gives us £1.74, or it gives us this. But as we're working with money, we need to make sure we round sensibly. So I would put this as £1.75. Okay. So now we do the similar calculations for Jim's gym. So we worked out the difference first. So we go back to our previous values, which is 212.46. That was per month. 46. So we're going to multiply this by 12. So I'm going to use the asterisk here this time. So 212.46 multiplied by 12, because that's the monthly cost, and we're timesing it by 12 in order to find out the yearly cost. So that's 2549.52. And now we're going to take this away from the sponsorship money that is available this year, which is minus 231608. This gives us 233.44. So now again we're going to divide it by, we could divide it by 48 as well as dividing it by 4 and then dividing it by 12. So I'm just going to do it this way. So divide, so the forward slash as a divide, divided by 12 gives us 19.4533. So 234 divided by 12, that's what it gives us. So it's £19.45333. And then 19.4533 divide by 4. Sorry, my screen locked out there, so I'm just going to do this again. So this is 2549.52 minus 2316.08. This is the the sponsorship money for this year. That gives us 233.44. So that's 233.44. And now we're going to need to work out the subscription. So we could divide this by 48 if we wanted to, but we're just going to keep it the same method that we did last time. So that's divided by 12. So 233.44 divided by 12 gives us 19.45333, and then 5333 divided by 4. You could alternatively just divide it by 48, as 12 times 4 makes 48. So divided by 4 gives us £4.86.3. So we put the value for the difference here in the gym subscription. Remember to round accordingly. As you're working with money, you must make sure that you round accordingly. So we're going to round to 2 decimal places, so that's £4.80. That will be £4. You could do £4.86 or £4.87. I'm just going to keep it £4.86. Okay, I think I might change it as £4.87 in case there's an inconsistency later. So there we go. So if we have £4, I could double check here. So £4.86, that's per member per month. So that's times 4. It's £19.44, and then times by 12. So it's £233.28. Yeah, so it wouldn't give us this value actually. So if we did it with £4.87, because we're working with money, sometimes obviously a few pennies can make a difference. So that's £4.87. That's times it by 4 is £19.48, and then we times it by 12. So it's £233.76. Or maybe there's a calculation error. So this covers the basis. So even though it's higher than this, if we did 486, it would be lower than this value. But if we did 487 that each team member pays, then it will be more than this value. So it's not an exact amount. So in question 3b, it's worth 2 marks. Check one of your calculations in question 3a. Check it by a different method to the one you used originally. So checking using reverse, you could use approximation, you could use reverse. It's very simple. You just check one of your calculations to ensure that it's correct. So you would just go the opposite way. So if you added something, you would subtract. If you multiply something, you would divide, and vice versa. So always just go for the easiest option. So maybe just do the first one. So I did 200 times 12 is 2,400. So I would now divide 2,400 divided by 12. This will give me 200. And make sure you check your calculations. This is an easy 2 marks. So 2,400 divided by 12 gives me 200. It's to show the examiner that you know how to check your calculations and you're constantly checking your values. So here, this is where you get the mark. This is the checking of the calculation. So as long as you've done that, pick an easy one. You could also do approximation. You could do other things to check your calculations. So click next to move on to question 4. Question 4 is 4 marks. You need to make a notice for the team notice board to show the 2 options. Make a table to summarize your results to show the 2 gyms, their costs, the sponsorship budget for gym training, and the cost of subscriptions. Okay, so we have the table format here. So what we need to do is that we actually just need to insert our previous data. So it's good to make a note or draw a rough table on the previous questions, if you go back to see our answers. It's basically inserting your answers in a systematic way in a table format. So I've made a note of my answers, so I'm now going to make sure I've met all the criteria. So it's to show the 2 options, so that's the 2 gyms. Make a table to summarize your results to show the 2 gyms, their costs, the sponsorship budget, and the cost of subscriptions. So I could possibly have 3 columns. I could put the gym here, so this meets this criteria, Boolies, and then I have gyms. Okay, so to add a column, you just press on this one. Okay, and if you want to undo the last action here. So I need to show the 2 gyms their costs. Oops, let's just undo that. Okay, so the costs could go here. The sponsorship budget for gym training and the cost of subscriptions. I'm also just going to put the difference there because it's not going to make a difference whether I put it in, but all the information that I have, I'm going to put it in there. So that's gym, so that's cost per year, because this is what I have. So this is 2,400, and cost per year for gym is 254952. Sponsorship budget. Okay, so I have 231608. Is the same. So the sponsorship budget is the same. The difference that's 83.92. And 233 there. And cost of subscription. As it's not specific whether they want it per year, per month, or per member, you can do it however you like, as long as you've met all the criteria. If you include any extra information like here, it's not asking for the difference, but I've just included it as it makes it clear. Cost is, let's change that to 87. So that's per member per month. You can also make these bigger just so you can see all the information. There's also many various options that you could do. You could make things bold. So if you go to Format, Text, so let's say I wanted to make this line bold, I could just highlight it and click out once it's done, so that's bold there. You can also change the colours. There's many various things you can do. You can change the font size if your font's not able to fit inside the boxes, but again you can adjust the rows, lengths and widths just clicking on this tool, and that's it. So that's my table done. It helps to make the table the columns and the rows first, and then insert your information. So I'm just going to click next, move on to the next question. So it says, which gym would you recommend to the team, and explain your decision. So it's you get these types of questions in the exams very often. So because you've now planned, and then you've used a method to solve the task, and now it's asking now to review and to pick which, in this case, which gym you would recommend. So if you go back to the table, you could actually see the differences here. It's a nice, easy layout. So you can see the cost of subscription per month for Booley's gym is £175 compared to Jim's gym, which is £487. And the cost per year is also far cheaper, therefore the difference in the cost of subscription is far less than Jim's. So that would be my answer. So I would pick Booley's gym. It is the cheapest. You could make a further comment. Other acceptable comments are Booley's is cheaper. Or you could say the subscription each team member pays is less than Jim's gym. You could also say things like sauna is included in the price. So these are some acceptable comments that you could, but go for the easiest one. It's the cheapest. So question 6 is worth 3 marks. You are asked to recommend a gym and decide on a subscription fee. You need to think about how well you did the task. Make 3 comments. Think about any other information that you would have liked, how sensible your answers were, how well your methods worked, anything you found difficult, things you might do differently if you had to tackle a similar problem. So you get these questions a lot in the functional skills maths exam. So it's asking you to comment about how your methods, how sensible your answers were. There's many different, this is very subjective answers that you can give. As long as you make a comment about how your method or your anything with these points, and you've related to the task, you're bound to get a point. So there's 3 comments. You should write 3 different. You should comment on 3 different aspects of the task. So comment on the method. So I'm going to write my method I used to work out Booley's gym costs was by calculating each member's session That's what I did first, to see if Booley's gym was a suitable gym. So remember, we calculated the amount of sessions per team member did per month, and then we divided it by 4 to see if this gym was suitable, because the weekly pass covered 12 sessions. So I could say that. There's also, maybe I found it difficult to decide if 1 year should be calculated using months or weeks. I ended up deciding to use 12 months for a year. So we could have used 52. So that's another you could also comment that next time you'll do it. I'm just checking my calculation and my spelling now. So I found it difficult to decide if 1 year should be calculated using months or weeks. I ended up deciding to use 12 months for a year. So you could possibly write, I might use 52 weeks next time, as this would make a difference to the price of Booley's gym. Okay, so think anything you might do differently if you had to tackle a similar problem. So you shouldn't write anything that you found difficult. You shouldn't write something, I found this difficult, because or I should have done this. It's about reviewing the task. So you need to write appropriate comments relating to the task. Unacceptable comments are things like, my answers seem sensible, or my method worked well. It's not qualifying, and therefore you wouldn't get a mark. Or something like, I found it difficult. I found the task difficult, or there was not enough space to write any my answers. I would do nothing differently. There's always things that you could do differently sometimes. So calculations for the year, for the example, for Booley's gym, we used 12 months. Just I thought that would be easier than working out, doing several more calculations to find out per week and then multiplying it by 52. So I found that easier to do. Other comments relating to this task. You could say something about how sensible the task, how sensible your answers were. So it was sensible to round up subscription to pounds. So it was sensible to round up subscription to 2 decimal places, as I was working with many. You could also say you could have rounded the subscriptions up to pounds, and an even number would be better, or a round pound number would be better. So you could say that if that's what you did. You could also say, I'm just giving you some extra, you would only need to write 3 comments. It would be useful to know if the same percentage applied to training this year as I had to assume it was the same. So I used the 15% calculation because it wasn't clear. So yeah, so next time I could also write, next time I could try using 52 weeks. So as long as it's on those lines, as it's a review comment, there's no calculations that you need to show in here. So again, an easy 3 marks. So try to answer these types of questions if you can. Okay, so now we're moving on to section 2. It's the fish farm. There are 25 marks for this task. You should check all your work as you go along. This task is about adding new tanks, rearing tanks, to breed fish on a trout fish farm. To complete this task, you will need to work out the volumes of water required, the weight of fish, the dimensions of the rearing tanks, where the tanks can fit. You will need to check your calculations. So now we're going to click Next. So question 1 is worth 5 marks. A fish farm needs some new rearing tanks. You will need to know how much water one rearing tank will hold. So we have here the rearing tank image. So it says use the formula to work out how many litres of water one tank holds. Show your working. So this is about finding out the volume of the rearing tank. So you have the formula here. So the formula is V equals pi r squared height times height. So V is the volume of water in tank in meters cubed. R is the radius of tank in meters. H is the height of water in tank in meters. And it says use 3.14 for pi. So it's saying also here that 1 meter cubed is 1000 litres. So remember, read the question carefully. Use the formula to work out how many litres of water one tank holds. The volume of water is in meters cubed, so we would need to then convert it into litres. So it says here 1 meter cubed is 1000 litres. Always remember, in an exam they give you all the information that you need, so you just need to look for it and solve the problem. So remember that, because if you just worked out the volume, it would only give it to you in meters cubed. We would need to then convert it into litres. So this is what I would do first. So we know that the volume equals pi r squared. So we have volume is, so we're going to replace the pi with the value. So that's 3.14, and this is multiplied. Remember these are related. These values are related by multiplication. So that's pi times r squared times height. So volume equals 3.14. So we have r as the radius of the tank, and that's given as 1.8. So that would be 1.8 multiplied by 1.8, and then the height of water in tank in meters. So that's 1.5. And then I would then just find this out on the calculator. So again, I'm going to move the calculator here so I can see the values. That's 3.14 times 1.8. 3.14 multiplied 1.8, 1.8, 1.5. Normally with indices, as BidMath says, you need to work out indices first. So that will be 1.8 times 1.8 multiplied by 3.14 multiplied by height. However, it still gives us the same value because they are all linked by multiplication. So this gives us a value of 15.2604, and that's meters cubed. So we have a function for cubed. There we go. So you just click on this and then write 3. So this gives us the volume in meters cubed. We now need to convert this into litres, so don't forget this part. So to convert meters cubed into litres, as you can see here, it's 1 meter cubed is 1000 litres. So we just need to multiply by 1000, so that's 15.260. I have the symbol on, so I'm just going to take this off. So that's 15.2604 times 1000. So we have this already on the calculator. I'm just going to multiply it by 1000. Remember to double check your answers. So it's 15260.4. And this is our final answer. So it says again, make a note of your answer. You will need this for question 2. So now we're going to click next. So this gives us question 2. It's also worth 5 marks. There will be 3 rearing tanks. Healthy fish need 1 litre of water for every 10 grams they weigh. Young trout weigh between 100 grams and 250 grams. Work out the maximum number of young trout you can have in 3 tanks. Give 1 reason for your answer. Okay, so if young trout weigh between 100 grams and 250 grams, we need to have the maximum number of young trout you can have in 3 tanks. So ideally, if we want the maximum number in the tank, and if they weigh between 100 grams and 250 grams, if we assume that one fish weighs 100 grams, then we can have the maximum number of fish in the 3 tanks. There's many various ways of doing this, so we're just going to, for the purposes of today, we're going to assume that each fish weighs 100 grams, because that's the minimum that they can weigh. So it says, healthy fish need 1 litre of water for every 10 grams they weigh. So 100 grams we're going to assume is 1 fish. We need to work out how many litres 1 fish could have. So if I divide 100 by 10, so that's 100 divided by 10, this gives us 10 litres. So this is 10 litres for 1 fish. Again, you just need to show your calculations here. This part here, any explanation is not required. I'm just doing this for purposes of this video. So that's 10 litres for 1 fish, which weighs 100 grams. So remember that there's 3 rearing tanks. The previous question we found out the volume in litres for 1 rearing tank, so we have 3, so you need to make sure that you take that into account. So now what I'm going to do, in 1 tank, because it's asking for the maximum number you can have in 3 tanks, so I'm going to find out how many I can have in 1 tank. So I have 15260.4 litres, and I'm going to divide this by 10, as I need to divide it by the litres that 1 fish needs. This gives us 1526.04 fish. But obviously I cannot have 1526.04 fish. I'm going to round this number to 1526. I'm going to round it down. So if I have 1526 fish that can go into 1 tank, I will then need to multiply this by 3 for the 3 tanks. So that gives me, let's have a look. So that's 1526 times 3 gives me 4578. So the maximum number of trout I can have in the 3 tanks is 4578. Just to make you aware, you can pick any other number. You could have picked the 250 grams and still got to a correct answer. So the mark scheme shows that the value should be between 1,800 and 4,581. So if you get an answer between these, then you're perfectly correct, as long as you give a reason for your answer. So my reason is the maximum number is when they are the smallest, and I used 100 grams for the weight of the fish. So that's my reason for this answer. So again, as I can say, this, if you get an answer between 1,800 and 4,581, then your answer is still correct. Make sure you give a reason for the weight of the fish that you used. So now I'm just going to move on. Question 3 is worth 4 marks. Fresh water will be pumped into each rearing tank from the river on the farm. The water must be filtered and pumped at a rate of 1,200 litres per minute. The temperature must be controlled to between 5 degrees Celsius and 15 degrees Celsius. Okay. You test some pumps, so you record how long it takes to fill up a 900 litre barrel with each pump. Choose a suitable pump to use for each rearing tank. Explain your choice of pump with supporting calculations. Okay, so this is about picking a suitable pump. So it's a process of elimination, and then we can do some calculations to check which pump is actually suitable. So we look at the pumps. So we need to make sure we meet the criteria of the pump that we need. So the water must be filtered and pumped at a rate of 1,200 litres per minute. So it must be filtered. So filter, B speed heavy duty has no filter. So B speed heavy duty has no filter. So this one we can cross out. High flow M also has no filter, so we can cross this one out. So temperature must be controlled to between 5C and 15C. So temperature control setting here. So B speed flow A has a temperature control setting, and also Magnum 250 has a control setting, temperature control setting. But Magnum 400 doesn't have one either. So we are not going to consider this B speed, Magnum 400, high flow M either. So the two options for consideration is B speed flow A and Magnum 250. So we need the water to be filtered and pumped at a rate of 1,200 litres per minute. So you test some pumps, you record how long it takes to fill up a 900 litre barrel with each pump. So this is the figures that we have here. So we have two options, B speed flow A and Magnum 250. So these are our two options. So question 6 is worth 4 marks. Use your answers to question 4A and question 5 to work out where the new rearing tanks will go. Place a cross in your diagram to show where each of the tanks can go. It's asking, will it be possible to fit more tanks in the space? Explain your answer. Is there space for more tanks? So I've read the whole question now. So the coloured yellow boxes are the space for tanks. You can see there's tree, river, farmhouse. There's not of any concern. So it says place a cross in the diagram to show whether each of the 3 tanks can go. So we have 3 tanks, you have enough space. Remember that the dimensions for the tanks was 9.6. So remember that each box is 10. So that means we can actually place 3 crosses. You can place them anywhere as long as there's 3 and they're roughly inside the box. I've got 3 there. So the position of them doesn't matter. So it's asking whether it would be possible to fit more tanks in the space. So actually you can. You could fit another 2 tanks. As you can see here, you still have this much space. You can put another one here, you can also put another one there. So yes. So it is possible to fit 2 more tanks as the diagram shows. There is enough space. And it's that simple. So this is the end of section 2. Click next to move on to section 3. So this is section 3. This is the bowling team task. There are 25 marks for this task. You should check all your work as you go along. Introduction. This task is about choosing players for a bowling team. To complete this task, you will need to work out the averages and ranges, present results, read data from a graph, decide which players will be in the team. You'll need to check your calculations. The bowling team is made up. So this is question 1, it's worth 5 marks. The bowling team is made up of 3 players for each match. You must select the players for the next match. The table shows the scores of 4 players over the last 10 matches. Work out a suitable average for each player's score. Complete the table. So, there are 3 averages to use. There's the mean, the median and the mode. The mode here probably wouldn't be suitable as there are no duplicate values because the mode is the most frequent number, so I probably wouldn't pick the mode. You could pick the mean and you could pick the median. Some of the values are quite dispersed, so as you can see here it's 104 for Alan, 175, so it's quite a big range there. However, I'd probably pick the mean as it's a lot more easier because with the median you'd have to put the numbers in order as they are not, doesn't look like they're in order, so I'll need to do an extra step. So I'll probably work out the mean. So to work out the mean, I would add all the values and divide by the number of values. So let's say Jack. So I'm going to add all the values for Jack. I would suggest not, you could write all the values out, so 170 plus 180 plus 190. However, you're going to do this on the calculator anyway. So I'm going to just write the total value. So that's 170 plus 180 plus 190 plus 185 plus 180 plus 190 plus 190 plus 205 plus 210 plus 215. So Jack's total gives me 1915. I then divide by number of values. As you can see, he played 10 matches. So then divide by 10. It's 191.5. So this is my answer. Okay. So Jodie. Always double check this, because as there's a lot of values that you're adding and you're dividing, double check your answers. So Jodie, I have 180 plus 200 plus 120 plus 184 plus 195 plus 190. This gives me a total of 1069. Remember, it's about the mean is dividing by the total number of values. So Jodie only played 6 matches, so be careful with these types of questions. Because Jack played 10, but Jodie only played 6. So that gives me 178.16. I'm just going to round this up to 178, to one decimal place. So we have Alan. So his scores of 104 plus 104 plus 140 plus 150 plus 142 plus 160 plus 175. This gives me a score of 975. And if I count how many matches he played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he played 7 matches. 7, 139.285. So again, I'm just going to round this up to 139.3, just one decimal place. And we have Karen. So 225 plus 230 plus 175 plus 180 plus 175 plus 170 plus 160. So this gives me 1315, and I'm going to divide it by 7 matches. 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah. So divide it by 7. This gives me 187. 85, 7, 142. That's fine. Again, I'm just going to round 187.9. Just going to round up. The next number is 8. So as you can see, this asterisk did not play the matches. So I'm just going to explain why the average used is most suitable. So the mean takes into account all of the data. It includes all the values. It includes all the numbers. That's an appropriate reason why you do the mean. Median, the reason that you'd pick the median to do an average of a set of data is the fact that it excludes any outliers in the data or any extreme values, anything that's too high or low. So the mean includes all the data. That's enough. It doesn't need to be something too long or complicated. Please do not explain how to work out the mean, because that's what it's shown in the previous question. It's about why the average use is the most suitable. The median here could have been suitable as well, as there are some extreme values. There's a high range here, as you can see with Alan. One of his scores was 104, and one of his scores was 175. So if I wanted to take the average using the median, then these would be excluded from the data, because I'm trying to find out the middle value. So it says, using answers to question 1, draw a suitable chart to compare the average scores of each player. So remember to write down the scores of the average in the previous task. So to draw a suitable chart, in comparing data, it's always good to do a bar chart. So to compare the average scores of each player, so that means there are 4 players. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, and now I need to pick an axis. So the maximum value and then the minimum value. So if I look at my set of data, I can see that the highest value was 191.5, so I might decide to make my values going up to 200. So I click show numbers, I've changed my maximum value, I now put my numbered divisions, and just to make my life easier, I've set it to 10. I've also subdivisions. Yep. This just might make my life easier, so that's 180. Let's not do that, let's just keep it to 1. So then there we go. Gives us an indication where my data goes. I'm just going to go from the first player. I'm not going to mix it around. So we've got Jack. His score was 191.5. So it's about there. 178.2. That's 160. 160 is there. 170 is there. 180 is there. So it's 178.2. So if 170 is there and 180 is there, it's 178.2. So each little bar is worth 0.1. So that's 171. Sorry, each little box is worth 1. So it's 8. So I'm sorry, each box is worth 2. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8. So it's just one box underneath 180. There we go. And then we have 139.3. So we have 100 here, 120, 39.3 is just literally going to be there. And we have 187.9. 187.9, so that's 190. So it's going to be around there. You could also change the minimum value, so I could actually change this all again just to make it a little bit more accurate. If I go to edit axis, minimum value, if I make that 100, okay, so then my values will change, so my bars will change. So Jack will be 191.5. That's 190 and that's 200, so that means each again is worth 1. So 191.5. So that's 191. 178 for Jody. So that's 175, 6, 7, 8, 3 up from 175. And then we have 139.3. So that's 109.39. And we have 187.9. So that's 185, 6, 7, it's nearly 8. There we go. So that's how I can do that. So it's dependent, so just as long as you use a suitable scale, this is enough. So now I can add a key. I'm first going to colour my bars. Let's make sure I don't move them. You could also just add text boxes if you like. Oh, that is that same colour, that doesn't work. So I'm going to colour my bars. I could use just text boxes to explain which one's each player, but I'm going to add the key. So I press add key, I enter the key title, so players. Okay, so I go to add key item. I'm going to have 4 keys. So I'm going to change each of the colours. That's the blue one. So this is Jack. Okay, and then edit, change the colour. So that's green. That's Jody. and then edit, colour, it's Alan, what's this one? Oh, so I'm just going to go back to edit key. My colours are still there. So go to edit. You can also delete the keys if you've made a mistake. Editing key, click the colour that I want. So the last colour is pink, and this is Carol. And then I just click apply, and then once I'm done I press OK. I could also include a title if I like to, so compare average scores of players. And I'm just going to make the thing bigger. I can also write here average scores, but this is again optional. The main thing is you don't spend too much time, you don't waste too much time. It's worth 5 marks. Obviously the bars are important, the axis is important. The key here is optional. You could just use text boxes to indicate the players. So that's how you do a bar chart. There's 4 parts to this question. Scroll down to complete all parts. So question 3A is worth 5 marks. Work out the range of scores for each player to complete the table. So remember, the range is the smallest value subtracted from the highest value. So we just look at the highest value and the lowest value. So we can see for Jack, you have 215 here. And then we're just going to minus this from the lowest value, which is 170. 215 minus 170 gives me, doesn't work, it's wrong, so it's 215 minus 170 gives me 45. And then I'll just put it in the correct box here, range. So we have Jodie. So the highest value for Jodie, you can see here, is 200. Make sure you take the time to actually look at the highest and lowest value so you don't miss anything, because you don't want to get calculation error just for looking at the wrong information. So we have 200 minus 120 is 80. Alan. So I'm going to make sure I put it in here. Okay. So for Alan, the highest value that we have is 175, and the lowest value that we have is 104. 175. It's always good to do mental arithmetic, but always double check it with the calculator. There's a calculator for you to use, so why not? And don't waste your time doing long multiplications or long calculations without the use of a calculator. You're allowed to use a calculator, so make sure you make use of it and check your calculations. So we have for Karen 230, and the lowest value, is 160. So that gives us 230, should give us 170. Yes, 70, sorry. So we have for Alan, so I'm going to start Alan here, and always just double check that you've got them. So compare your results and explain what they tell you about the scores of the 4 players. Make 1 comment. So it's about comparing your results. Explain what they tell you about the scores, okay? As you can see here, Jack has the lowest range and Jodie has the highest range, so she had the least inconsistent scores, whereas Jack's scores were more consistent. So 1 comment could be Jack's scores are more consistent than the other players, as his range was the lowest. Another acceptable comment could be Jodie's scores are more varied than the other players, as her range was the highest. Other players, let's just check that. Okay. So usually the lower the range, the more consistent the score or the marks or the values, the more consistent the data. So the higher the range, the more inconsistent the data. As you can see, Jodie, her lowest score was 120 and her highest score was 200. So there's a very big difference between her lowest and highest score. Whereas Jack, it's always between 170 and 215. I mean, it's quite similar. The range, as you can see, is only 45, whereas compared to 80, the 200 and 120 is a bigger difference. So it's comparing the results. So make sure you read the question and explain what they, and actually give an answer that answers the question. Choose one of your calculations in 3A to show a check. Check it by a different method to the one you used originally. So we're just going to copy and paste, let's say Jodie's score. You can pick any of them. So that's making sure it's the right question. So that's 3A, yes, so it's 3A that we're checking. So Jodie scores 200, so now 80 plus 120 is 200, and of course double check it on the calculator to make sure you are checking the right calculations. So that's that one there, so that's only 2 marks. So question 3C is worth 4 marks. The graph shows the performance of each player. So as you can see, this is the graph. So this is bowling team performances for all the players. So you can see the trend lines for each of the players as well, and the match numbers here and the scores. So look at the trend lines. Compare Jack's performance over 10 matches to Jodie's performance. Explain what the trend lines tell you. Make 2 comments. So it's asking you to make 2 comments comparing Jack's performance to Jodie's performance. So we're going to compare Jack and Jodie. So if you can see where Jack and Jodie's performances are, so you can see the red and the green. So the red is Jack, so Jack's increasing, as you can see there, and Jodie's is also increasing. So that's one comment I can write. So Jack and Jodie's scores are increasing over the 10 matches. So you can see that Jack is actually scoring a little bit higher than Jodie. Only at one point I think Jodie scores higher, but majority of the time his trend line, as you can see, is above Jodie. So you could make a comment about that. So Jack's score are increasing at a higher rate. Okay. So the next bit is compare Alan's performance over 10 matches to Karen's performance. Explain what the trend line tells you and make 2 comments. So if you have a look, so you can see the key code here. So that's Alan is in blue, in triangle, and X is Karen. So Alan's score, this is the trend line for Alan, and this is the trend line for Karen. So as you can see, Alan's performance is going up as the 10 matches go along, whereas Karen's performance is actually decreasing. So one comment I could make: Alan's scores are increasing compared to Karen's scores, which are decreasing. So if you have a look at Alan's scores, even though Karen's scores are actually decreasing, his scores, if you see at match number 1, is a lot lower than Karen's scores. So we could also make a comment about that. So Karen's scores was better than Alan's scores. So we can have a look at when the dip, because he does start going up. So it's until after match 8 Alan's scores are actually increasing, whereas Karen's scores are decreasing until match 8. Another acceptable comment could be Alan's scores are better than Karen's. You can say something like that. Okay, so we're going to move on to question 3D. So look at all the information and results that you have. So it's worth 4 marks. Decide which 3 players will be in the team for the next match. Explain your decision for each player using the trend line, the average, or the range. So Jack. So Jack probably had one of the highest averages, as he had yeah, he had the highest average. See if we double check it, and he had the lowest range. Yep, so 191.5 was the highest. So if you have the scores written down, it saves you time to having to go back and look for the information. So, yes, Jack, so decide which player, so you're either at yes or no. Jack had the highest average score. So, Jodie. So, Jack's would probably be yes, because he had the highest score, the highest range, the lowest range, sorry, which is the most consistent. So, you had the highest average score, most inconsistent, most consistent score, and player. So, he is the most consistent player and had the highest scores. So, Jodie, we could pick yes, or we could also pick no. So, if we was to pick yes, she has the second highest mean, and scores are improving. Or we could also pick no, as her trend line is flat, and she was the least consistent. She had the highest range. So we have Alan. So we could pick yes or no. So it's asking you to pick 3 players. As long as you have a reasonable explanation, you've picked 3 players in the team, and you've selected one for no, and you explain the reason why you would include them in the team. So Alan, he's second, so I would probably pick Alan. He's improving the most as the matches go along. He also has the second highest scorer in the last match he played. So he is improving. Karen, yes or no? So you could pick Alan for no. So you could say that most of his performance is below the others. His mean is the lowest as well. So you could also pick no. Karen, because I picked the others, yes, I'm going to pick no. The reason is that her scores are decreasing, and her scores are inconsistent. Consistent, as the range shows. Because this is inconsistency to do with the range. Or you could have picked yes for Karen, but then you would have picked someone else for no. If you picked yes for Karen, so she had the second highest mean, her performance is still above the others. So that's the reason that you could pick them. So this comes to the end of the assessment. I really hope that this tutorial has been useful, and I wish you all the best in your functional skills maths level 2 exam. Thank you very much for watching.